so here we go. The first thing you're going to need is some clay, some little glass beads or glass eyes, a pair of scissors, something to smooth with. This is a Christy freezing tool, but you could use a knitting needle, works good for this. Something with a sharp end, a needle tool or just a sharp tool, and a blade. And I'm going to use a piece of material to make the clothing, some pattern in the clothing. And this is just a piece that I rolled thin. This is going to be the clothing. I rolled it on like a 3 on my pasta machine. If you don't have a pasta machine, you can use, you can just use a rolling pin. So let me move this out of the way. I'm going to start with this ball. I want to pinch some of it off because I won't need all of it. And I'm going to roll it into a ball. Then I'm going to pinch. The thing about animals is everything has one characteristic that makes it what it is. There's one thing that makes it look like what it is. Like for a rabbit, it's mostly the ears. For a pig, it's the snout. For like an elephant, it's a trunk. So I pinch this up to make it look like it's like a B or a music note. See how that's like the letter B. So next I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut right in the middle. One's a little bit bigger than the other, but I'll just take care of that. Now I'm going to take this smoothing tool, roll in between and give some definition on each side there. Just give them a point. I'm going to lay my bunny face down and just give it some shape on both sides of the face and refine that a little more. Now we already have a bunny shape going. You want to be sure not to get your ears too thin. I'm going to take my smoothing tool and just give some definition in the ears like this. Now, I want to make placement for the eyes, so I'm going to poke a hole one side and the other. And here's my little trick to get the eyes in. I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to place one eye in this way, mash it down. That keeps the bead holes from showing and also keeps you from making little lines on each side. When you do it this way, press that in. You want to press it all the way in. Okay, so now we have our eyes in. Now what we're going to do is make eyelids. Eyelids are a very important part of the vase because they give your animal character and give it some kind of a mood. So I'm going to cut this in half. This is going to be my eyelids. One's a little bit bigger than the other, but that's okay. So if I set them on this way, pointed downward, you can tell it already it's going to give it a mean expression. We don't want mean right now. So I'm going to set it back this way, tilt them this way. I'm going to smooth them in with my smoothing tool. All the way around. Okay. Now I'm going to lift the eyelids up just a little bit there in the center. Just makes it look more wide awake. Gives it more of a sweeter expression. I want to make a little more indentation in here, I think. Okay. Next, we're going to move on to, we're going to take this white, we're going to make a little tooth. Just going to match that flat and make a tiny square. About that big. See how I just made a little square? I'm going to set it right there. And then I'm going to take my blade and make a line. Now I'm going to take a little bit more of this gray and roll it in a ball just like we did our eyelids. But Then I'm just going to lay it down and cut it in half. And I'm going to set it right here and here. I'm just going to roll that in just a little bit. Then I've got this scrap over here that just happens to be pink. You could use pink or black. I'm going to make a tiny little ball. I'm going to put it right here on the end. All right. I'm going to take and make a couple of whisker holes. You could actually take some fishing line and add some whiskers after you bake. Make a little bit more definition for the eyes there. And there we have a little bunny face. All right, so now we're going to take our scrap, pinch a little bit of it off for the arms. Okay, and we're going to roll it into a cone, just like a little cone shape. I don't cut the end off flat. Now I'm going to take this piece that I ran through the pasta machine. I'm going to take a piece of material. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to, but it just gives it a little bit more detail. I'm going to roll that in and lift it off. Now I have a nice little pattern for my dress. I'm going to cut it and lift it up with my blade. Now I want to measure and see about how much I need for this cone, and I'm going to mark it about right there. I can tell that. So I'm going to cut it here, and I'm going to take this one and I'm going to just gather it a little bit here at the top, and I'm going to wrap it around my cone and bring it together in the back. I make her a little green dress. Okay, now there's that. So the next thing that I'm going to do is take my toothpick. Where did it go? Okay, gotta find the toothpick. Here it is. Take my toothpick. I'm going to break it off part of the way. Now I'm going to make a little bit of hole right here in the bottom of the head and make a hole here. Usually when you're sculpting an animal or a person, the weakest part is going to be the neck or the arms where you attach another piece to it. So I stuck that in there and that in there. Now I've got her little head on. The next thing I do is I'm going to take a little bit more of my gray, and I'm going to roll a log, and I'm going to kind of round off each end. So this is going to be her arms. So I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to kind of just guess how long. I want to leave a little bit hanging over on each one for the hands. So I'm going to roll that up, cut it off. And these look a little fat, so I'm going to stretch it some. Alright, so these are both of my hands, but what I want to do is cut it at an angle. Here. And here. So cutting at an angle makes it much more easy just to lay the arm or the hand flush against the body. Take my smoothing tool and smooth that in real good. Give her hand a little bend. Now for my shoes, I'm going to take this little piece of black and roll it into like a bean shape. And then I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm just going to set it like they're coming out from underneath her dress here. Now, there's our cute little bunny girl, and just for the sake of Easter, I'm going to just take a little different color and give her an egg to hold. So, there she is. There's your little bunny girl. And this is my first attempt to videotape the class by myself. And so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I would love to see your bunnies. After this, you just make the manufacturer's instructions, and you're good to go. Like I said, I'm going to do 25 animals in the next couple, an animal a day for 25 days is what the class is going to be. So if you're interested in learning some more about sculpting some animals in this really easy technique, then I'd love for you to come join me. I'll have some more information up about that in a bit. So thank you guys so much. Have fun. Show me pictures of your bunnies.